Lesson 7.3 is solving equations with variables on both sides. So up to this point you have collected like terms and you have solved multi-step equations, and now we're just going to add a little bit more to it. It says some problems produce equations that have variables on both sides, and for our purposes they will be the same variable. Eventually down the road you're going to have different variables, but for now we're just going to deal with the same variable. So for example, this is write an equation to find the number of hours for which the cost will be the same for both dog sitting services. Here we have the expression for Happy Paws. And Happy Paws, it's $19, so that's their flat fee, plus $1.50 per hour. So here we have $19 and then 1.5 instead of 1.50, you can just cut off the 0. So 1.5H. And then Woof Watchers, looks like my dog right there, their flat fee is $15, so a little bit less, but they charge $2.75 per hour. So they charge more per hour, but their initial fee is less. So 15 plus 275H. And H in both cases stands for hours. So we can set those equal to each other because ultimately we want to know how many hours until they charge the exact same amount. It says solving an equation with variables on both sides is very similar to solving an equation with a variable only on one side. You can add and subtract the variable term just like we do the constant. So we're not going to start off dividing. That will always be our last step. So let's go ahead and look at a couple of these. And if you'd like to, if you bring this in and have it completed with the number of hours, I'll give you a couple extra points. So let's look. Here, our first equation, 7x minus 11 equals negative 19 plus 3x. Now, the first thing that I want us to do is go ahead and move the variable term to the left. I know you've done these before, and some of you might want to put the constant on the left. I really don't care ultimately as long as you show your work and you are successful with it. But for our purposes, I'm just going to show it this way. So to move this entire term, I need to subtract it. The only way you can move an entire term is by adding or subtracting. So I have 7x minus 3x is 4x. I bring down my subtract 11 equals negative 19. Well, now, voila, we have a two-step equation. So it takes us right into what we've been doing before. Since this is subtract 11, we'll add it. So we end up with 4x equals negative 19 plus 11 is negative 8. Now I divide both sides by 4, and x equals 2. We're going to do a few more of these. So here I will go ahead and bring the 4a over. It's a positive, so I will subtract it. 11a minus 4a is 7a. Bring down the plus 9 equals 30. Again, it's just a two-step equation. This is plus 9, so I'll subtract it, or you can say it's a positive 9, so I put a negative 9, either way. 7a then equals 21. Divide both sides by 7, and a equals 3. This problem right here, I'm going to choose to eliminate my fraction first, just like we did the other day. So if you want to, you can put the denominator of 1 underneath all of these integer terms, and my common denominator is a 5. So here we go. 1 divides into 5 5 times, so this is times 5. 1 again divides into 5, so this is times 5. 5 divides into 5 1 time, so this is just times 1. And 1 divides in 5, so there's times 5. So now let's go ahead and clean this up. 4t times 5 is 20t, plus 14 times 5 is 70, equals 6t times 1 is 6t, and 7 times 5 is 35. Now it's just like these other two. So let's go ahead and solve it. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 6t from both sides. And the nice thing is this is going to turn it into a two-step equation. 20t minus 14, or well, I said it, 20t minus 6t is 14t, plus 70 equals 35. We will go ahead and subtract the 70. I'll write it over here. So I end up with 14t equals negative 35, 35 minus 70. And then when I divide it by 14, I get 2.5. In this case, it's a negative 2.5 though. Alright, same thing here. I want to eliminate the 3. So I'll put a 3 underneath here and here. No, I won't. Scratch that, I'm sorry. I'll put a 1 underneath there. There we go. And now my common denominator is a 3. 3 divides into 3 one time. We're going to say that that's a plus 9, and we'll see if that's really what it was. I don't know why I didn't copy out correctly. So I bring down the whole 2x plus 9 equals 1 divides into 3 3 times, so this is 24. Again, times 3, so that's minus 9x. Well, finally we have one where the x term isn't just positive because the variable terms are positive here. This is a subtract 9x, or you can think of it as negative 9x, so I have to add it. Notice I'm only doing it with the other x. I have to have like terms. So I have 2x plus 9x is 11x plus 9 equals 24. And so I will subtract 9. So that equals, we'll subtract 9. So 11x equals 24 minus 9 is 15. And it's okay that we're going to get a fraction answer because I think originally that was probably supposed to be subtract. But that's okay. We will adjust. We have to learn to embrace fractions. So in this case, x equals 15 elevenths, or it's going to run over into this one, but that's okay. 1 and 4 elevenths. Nothing wrong with that. Let's do this. Common denominator, again, I'll put a 1 underneath these integers. Common denominator here is 8. So 1 goes into 8, 8 times, 8 goes in once, 4 goes in 2, and 1 goes in 8. 14 times 8 is 112. Subtract 1w equals 6w. Subtract 21 times 8 is 168. Alright, we'll go ahead and subtract the 6w. So I end up with 112 equals negative w minus 6 more is negative 7w. Make that look a little nicer. Minus 168, or equals, sorry, equals 160. What am I doing? Oh, good golly, Miss Molly, here we go. Minus 7w equals negative 168. It's early in the morning when I'm doing this, so sorry. Okay, two-step equation. Remember, we discussed this before. You don't have to put it out there, but this is really 0 plus 112. That lets me know that I subtract the 112. So I get a negative 7w equals negative 168, subtract 112 more is negative 280. Oh, come on now. Divide by negative 7, and w equals positive, don't forget negative divided by negative, 40. Alright, over here I have a half times the quantity 6x minus 4. So really I only have half of this. So if we distribute, half of 6x is 3x, half of negative 4 is negative 2. And then that equals 4x minus 9. Same old process from here. I'll subtract the 4x. 3x minus 4x is negative 1x minus 2 equals negative 9. Now I add the 2 to both sides. This is a very repetitive process, so once you get it down, you can run with it. Negative 9 plus 2 is negative 7, but I have to divide by the negative 1, so x equals positive 7. All right, just a couple more. Here we have 48 decreased by a number. Decreased by a number means we subtract it. So 48 decreased by a number, we're going to go ahead and call it n for number, is the same as, so equals, the difference, again subtraction, of 4 times a number, so the difference of 4 times a number and 7. So now we need to find the number. Same thing that we did before. I'll subtract the 4n. So 48, negative n minus 4n is negative 5n, or subtract 5n equals negative 7. Two-step equation, subtract the 48. Negative 5n equals negative 55. Divide by negative 5. And the number in question is 11. All right, we have one more. The square and the equilateral triangle at the right have the same perimeter. Remember, perimeter is the distance around. Well, recall that all sides of the square are the same. So I have 4 sides that are x plus 5. You can always go x plus 5 plus x plus 5 plus x plus 5 plus x plus 5, but I'm not going to because it's quicker to do it this way. And that's the same as, remember, all the sides of an equilateral triangle are the same. So I have 3 of the 3x. So now I have to go ahead and simplify each side first. So here I'll distribute. Remember, this means I have 4 copies of x plus 5, so I have 4 x's, and 4 5s are 20. And 3 times 3x is 9x. I'm still going to do the same thing that I've done before, because I want you to see that you don't have to get all freaked out if you end up with a 0. So I'll subtract 9x. I'll put it up over here. 4x minus 9x is negative 5x plus 20 equals 0. Don't think that 0 means that there's no solution. 0 is a legitimate number. So now I'll subtract 20 from both sides. I get negative 5x equals 0 minus 20 is negative 20. So if I divide by negative 5, x equals 4. But that's not everything they're asking for. It says find the length of the sides of the triangle. So I look at the triangle, and each side is 3x, so 3 times 4 is going to be 12 units, because it's wanting the length of the sides of the triangle. Okay, so that is it. I will post your assignment online in case you are interested